Hey there. You know how you've been kind of struggling with that whole digital transformation thing?
Yeah.
Especially in an industry that's,
Oh, yeah.
well, let's just say not known for embracing change super quickly.
Right.
Well, we've got a deep dive today that speaks directly to that.
Okay.
We dug into some academic research, an article from the Journal of Strategic Information Systems
Interested.
to get you some solid insights.
Okay. Yeah.
Uh,
So this is a really interesting piece
yeah.
because it kind of zeroes in on something that I think a lot of companies miss.
Okay.
The power of your network,
Yeah.
what academics call social capital.
Yeah.
And they argue that who you know,
Yeah.
and more importantly, what they know
Yeah.
is crucial for really nailing a digital transformation.
See, this is why I love these deep dives.
Yeah.
It's not just about the fancy tech, right?
Yeah.
It's about the human element too.
Yeah.
But before we get too deep into the social capital side, let's make sure we're on the same page about what digital transformation actually means.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that phrase gets thrown around a lot.
You're absolutely right. It does.
Yeah.
And this study really does make a clear distinction between like a true digital transformation,
Okay.
which is about, fundamentally changing how a company creates value
Okay.
and just kind of like slapping on some new software,
Right.
Think Uber or Airbnb.
Yeah.
They didn't just make taxis or hotels a bit better.
Right.
They completely reinvented those industries.
Okay.
Yeah.
So less new and improved
Yeah.
and more total game change.
Totally, yeah.
I'm starting to see why this is so tricky for companies to get right.
Yeah.
In fact, the study says most companies don't even reach the full potential
Right.
of their digital transformations.
Yeah.
What's tripping them up?
Well, a lot of it comes down to, I think, a knowledge gap.
Okay.
Companies may have the ambition, but they simply don't have the in-house expertise to pull off something this big.
Yeah.
It's like trying to build a rocket when you've only ever built bicycles.
Right.
You need a different level of knowledge altogether.
So how do you bridge that gap?
Well, it's not just about hiring.
Okay.
It's about tapping into
Yeah.
existing knowledge and resources.
Okay.
And that's where social capital comes in.
Okay.
This study really suggests that
Okay.
the knowledge and connections that you have access to through your network are absolutely key.
So it's not just who you know.
Right.
It's who they know and what they know.
Yeah.
It's like this web of knowledge that you can tap into.
Exactly.
Tell me more about how this
Okay.
this social capital thing actually works.
They break it down into 3 parts:
Okay.
structural, cognitive, and relational.
3 parts. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm guessing each one kind of plays a different role in getting that knowledge flowing.
You got it.
Okay.
Structural capital is about how your network is actually organized.
Partnerships, alliances, having a diverse range of contacts across different sectors.
Okay.
It's the framework, you know.
So having the right structure to connect with the right people.
Yeah.
What about cognitive capital?
That's all about shared understanding.
Okay.
Speaking the same language, having shared values, a common vision.
That-
You've got to be on the same wavelength to really make those connections work.
So it's not enough to just be connected.
Right.
You need to be on the same page.
Yeah, you got to be on the same page.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, what about the last one? Relational capital.
This is the human element.
Okay.
Trust, reciprocity, mutual respect.
Okay.
These are the ingredients for,
Yeah.
strong, productive connections.
Yeah.
It's about the quality of your relationships, not just the quantity.
Okay, so it's about who you know,
Yeah,
how well you know them,
exactly.
and how well you understand each other.
Exactly.
And the study says this social capital is what helps companies develop these,
Yeah, these dynamic capabilities they need for digital transformation.
exactly.
Okay.
They highlight 3:
Okay.
absorptive capacity, integration effort, and big data analytics capability.
3 capabilities, 3 parts of social capital. Yeah. I'm sensing a pattern here.
There you go.
So what are these mystical dynamic capabilities?
Yeah.
And how do they connect to who we know?
Think of them like special skills
Okay.
that help companies thrive in times of massive change, like,
Right.
a digital revolution.
Right.
And the study says your network is what enables you to develop these skills.
Let's break them down one by one.
Okay.
First up, absorptive capacity.
Imagine a sponge soaking up water,
Okay.
but instead of water, it's valuable knowledge from your network.
Okay.
Absorptive capacity is about being able to identify,
Yeah.
absorb,
Yeah.
and actually use new information
Okay.
to adapt and learn.
Especially in a world where tech is evolving at warp speed.
Absolutely.
You got to be a fast learner to keep up. And having the right connections can give you a serious edge.
Absolutely. And without that ability to absorb new knowledge,
Yeah.
all that social capital is wasted.
Yeah.
It's like having a library card,
Right.
but never checking out a book.
So companies need to be able to turn that external knowledge
Exactly.
into internal wisdom.
Right.
Okay, that's absorptive capacity.
Right.
What about the second one? Integration effort.
This is about connecting the dots.
Okay.
Specifically, connecting those shiny new digital technologies
Yeah.
with your existing resources
Yeah.
and ways of working.
Okay.
It's about weaving the new into the old
Right.
and making sure it all works together smoothly.
That sounds like a management nightmare,
It can be.
especially in industries that are like resistant to change.
Right.
How do you even begin to bridge that gap?
This is where those strong relationships
Yeah.
and shared understanding, those key elements of social capital come in.
Okay.
By tapping into your network, you can learn from others who've already navigated
Okay.
similar challenges.
Yeah.
It's like having a roadmap
Right.
instead of wandering in the wilderness.
So it's not just about avoiding mistakes.
Right.
It's about learning from the successes of others.
Absolutely.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Last but not least,
Okay.
what about big data analytics capability?
This one's all about being able to collect,
Okay.
analyze, and act on large amounts of data.
Yeah.
And again, social capital plays a huge role here.
I can see that data is rarely confined to a single company's walls anymore.
Right.
You need to be able to access
Right.
and utilize data
Yeah.
from your partners, your
Yeah.
customers, even your competitors.
Potentially, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's out there.
It is. It's
Yeah.
everywhere.
It is.
Right.
The study emphasizes that big data analytics often requires collaboration
Okay.
and knowledge sharing
Okay.
across organizational boundaries.
Yeah.
You need to be able to connect with others who have expertise.
In data analysis, data
Yeah.
management, and data security skills,
Mm-hmm.
you might not have in-house.
So social capital is like a key
Yeah, it's
that
stuff.
unlocks valuable data insights,
Right.
insights that would be out of reach otherwise.
Absolutely. And those insights are absolutely crucial
Yeah.
for making smart decisions
Yeah.
about your digital transformation strategy.
Okay, so we've got these three dynamic capabilities,
Yeah.
absorptive capacity,
Yep.
integration effort,
Yes.
and big data analytics capability,
yes.
all linked to social capital.
Right.
But what's fascinating is that the study didn't just look at these in a vacuum.
It didn't.
They actually dove into a specific industry
They did.
that's been having a tough time with digital transformation, healthcare.
Yes. They focused on the Australian healthcare sector,
Okay.
which is interesting.
Yeah.
Because it's known for strict regulations
Right.
and a strong emphasis on patient privacy.
Which makes accessing external knowledge and resources even more challenging.
Absolutely.
I can see why they picked that setting.
Yeah.
It's like a real-world test case
Yeah, it is.
for the power of social capital.
Absolutely.
Tell me more about what they found.
Well, they wanted to see exactly how social capital
Okay.
influenced those three dynamic capabilities
Okay.
in Australian healthcare organizations.
Okay.
To do that, they came up with 4 hypotheses.
Okay.
The first 3 were all about looking at each capability on its own.
Okay.
So the first one said that the more social capital a healthcare organization has,
Okay.
the better they'll be at absorbing external knowledge,
Okay.
which in turn leads to better results from their digital transformation efforts.
So it's like that chain reaction we were talking about.
Yeah.
Strong network, strong learning, strong results.
Exactly.
What about hypothesis number 2?
The second one focused on integration effort.
Okay.
They proposed that organizations with strong social capital are more likely to put in the work
Okay.
needed to integrate new digital tech effectively, which again leads to those positive outcomes.
Makes sense to me. It's not enough to just have the latest gadgets, you know?
Right.
You need to know how to actually weave them into your daily operations.
Exactly.
Sounds like a place where having the right connections and shared understanding could really make a difference.
Absolutely.
Okay, what about hypothesis number 3?
That one zeroed in on big data analytics,
Okay.
suggesting that a strong network equals a greater ability to harness the power of big data
Okay.
to drive your digital transformation.
So the more plugged in you are,
Yeah.
the better you can use data to your advantage.
Exactly.
Okay, so those first 3 were about each capability individually.
They were.
What about the fourth one? Was
Yeah.
that different?
Yes, the fourth hypothesis looked at the bigger picture.
Okay.
They proposed that absorptive capacity, integration effort, and big data analytics capability all work together in a sequence to impact digital transformation outcomes.
Okay, a sequence, like a domino effect.
Exactly. It starts with social capital, leading to better absorption of knowledge from your network.
Okay.
Then, that improved learning leads to more effective integration of new and old systems.
Okay.
And finally, that successful integration sets the stage for strong big data analytics capability.
So it's not just that each capability is important on its own,
Right.
but they actually build on each other
Exactly.
with social capital as the foundation.
It is the foundation.
It's like social capital kicks off this whole chain reaction
Yeah.
that leads to digital transformation success.
That's a great way to put it. And what's really exciting is that this study found strong support for all four of their hypotheses.
Wow. So they actually proved that a good network is key for successful digital transformation.
They did.
That's pretty compelling, especially given the challenges of the healthcare industry.
It really is.
Yeah.
And remember, they were looking at Australian healthcare,
Right.
which is known for strict regulations and privacy concerns.
Right.
So for them to find such strong support for the importance of social capital is pretty significant.
If it can work in a tough environment like that,
Right.
it feels like there's real potential for companies in any industry.
Absolutely. This research shows that social capital isn't just some fluffy concept.
Right.
It's a critical asset for organizations that want to thrive in the digital age.
Yeah.
It's not just nice to have, it's a must-have.
Okay. So let's bring this back to our listener.
Okay.
They're grappling with their own digital transformation challenges.
Yeah.
What are the key takeaways they should be thinking about?
First and foremost, they need to assess their organization's social capital.
Okay.
Think about their existing network.
Yeah.
Do they have connections to people and organizations with the knowledge they need to succeed?
And it's not just about quantity, right?
It's not.
It's also about the quality of those relationships.
It is.
Do they have those strong, trusting connections where knowledge flows freely?
Exactly. The second takeaway is to focus on developing those three dynamic capabilities. Being able to learn from their network, connect the dots between old and new systems, and leverage data to make informed decisions.
Sounds like a solid game plan.
Yeah.
But these capabilities are all interlinked, right?
They are.
Yeah.
And that's why the third takeaway is to remember that social capital is the key to unlocking the full potential of these capabilities.
Okay.
It's the foundation on which everything else is built.
So if you're feeling stuck in your digital transformation efforts,
Right.
maybe it's time to take a good look at your network.
Yeah.
What kind of expertise are you missing?
Yeah.
What connections could you be leveraging more effectively?
That's a great point. It's worth noting that this study did have some limitations.
Okay.
It relied on cross-sectional data and a single informant from each organization.
So there's always more to learn.
Always.
More research to be done.
Absolutely.
But even with those limitations,
Right.
the findings are pretty convincing.
I agree. And this raises another important question.
Okay.
How can leaders actively cultivate social capital within their organizations to support these efforts over the long term?
Okay.
It's not just about recognizing its importance.
Right.
It's about actively building and nurturing those connections.
Interesting. It's like social capital is a living thing
It is.
that needs to be tended to.
It does.
Like a garden.
Yes.
You can't just plant a few seeds and walk away expecting a bountiful harvest.
That's a fantastic analogy.
Right.
It takes consistent effort, attention, and a willingness to invest in building those meaningful relationships.
So for our listener who's on their own digital transformation journey,
Yes.
we're leaving them with this. Don't underestimate the power of your network. It might just be the key to unlocking the success you've been searching for.
And remember, there's always more to learn.
Yeah.
Keep exploring, keep connecting, and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
I love that advice.
Yeah.
It feels like we've uncovered a hidden superpower
Yeah.
for navigating this digital world.
It is.
Who knew that our networks could be such a game changer?
Right.
It's like we've been carrying around this secret weapon
Yeah.
and didn't even realize it.
I know, right? It's so easy to get, caught up in the tech side of things.
Right.
The software, the data, the algorithms.
Yeah.
That we forget about the power of human connection.
Yeah.
But this research really drives home the point that
Yeah.
those connections are essential.
They're not just a nice to have.
Nope.
They're a need to have.
They are.
And I think that's a perfect example of why we do these deep dives.
Yeah.
Taking these dense research papers
Right.
and pulling out the nuggets of wisdom
Yeah.
that you can actually use in your daily life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
In this case, those golden nuggets are all about recognizing that you don't have to go it alone
Right.
on this digital transformation journey.
Yeah.
There's a whole world of resources and expertise out there
Yeah.
just waiting to be tapped into.
Exactly. So as we wrap up this deep dive, we want to leave you with a call to action.
Okay.
It's not enough to just listen and nod your head.
Right.
We want you to actually take this knowledge and do something with it.
Yeah.
Put it into practice.
Yeah.
We've given you the knowledge.
Right.
Now it's your turn to take the reins.
Here's your assignment for this week.
Okay.
Take some time to really think about your own social capital.
Yeah.
Go beyond just your LinkedIn connections.
Yeah.
And really consider who you have in your corner.
Think about those existing relationships.
Yeah.
Are there any gaps in knowledge or expertise that might be holding you back in your own digital transformation efforts?
Right.
Where could you use a little boost?
And once you've identified those gaps,
Yeah.
brainstorm some ways to bridge them.
Yeah.
Maybe it's reaching out to someone you haven't spoken to in a while.
Right.
Someone who might have valuable insights or experience to share.
Or maybe it's about expanding your horizons.
Yeah.
And making new connections.
Yeah.
Think about attending an industry event. Right.
Or joining an online community where you can connect with people who are facing similar challenges.
The point is to be proactive.
Be proactive.
Don't wait for those connections to magically appear.
Right.
Go out there and cultivate them. Remember, building social capital is an investment worth making.
It's an investment in your own success.
Yeah.
And the success of your organization.
And on that note, we'll wrap things up.
Sounds good.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive,
It was a pleasure.
and we'll see you next time.